I will tell you, you want, some of you want to study computer engineering, some of you want to study electronic engineering, civil engineering. You know who is the best engineer in the world? It is life, human cell. Because cell actually engineers between, look at the precision of a DNA. DNA and A will bind with T, G will bind with C. With a precision which is more than any precision, any engineering which is possible. And this is in fact the engineering of a hydrogen bond. So the DNA which you see, the double helix structure which you see everywhere, is one of the most precise creation, not by human being, but by nature, using those weak forces. Okay, now you might say nature is good also. Why? Because nature has evolved it over a period of billions of years of evolution. Of course, in our lifetime we don't have a chance of evolution. But to be honest, this is one of the best creativity. A will bind with T, such a precision. No mistakes. No mistakes. Of course, again, those people who are smokers, again, those generates radicals, free radicals. Out of these 30-40 chemicals which is there, few of them are NO plus, nitric oxide radical. And those radicals will go and again bind with DNA and change that. And it will make them, photochemically excited. As a result, the mispairing will happen. As a result, that is why they say, those people who smoke, they get cancer. One of the reasons. This is one of the reasons. Okay. Now coming to hydrogen. Okay, how many of you have seen this movie, An Inconvenient Truth? Yeah, few of you. So those who have seen the movie, why don't you give those movies to everybody? Yeah, it's helpful. They will appreciate it. Okay, what is your name? Maybe I am getting old, I am not able. जोर से बोलो. जोर से बोलो, जोर से बोलो. Riddhi. Sun, right? Riddhi means sun, right? Yes. So Riddhi, why don't you, if you have it in your pen drive or something, give it to them, those, if you have. Otherwise, you email it to them. This generation knows how to transfer movies like anything. They will not give notes to each other because then they will compete. No, movies they will give. People will actually give 3-4 movies. Why? Because then the other person will not read. No, only see movies. In the meantime, I will do. I used to do exactly the same. We used to be very competitive. When I was a student, I used to be very competitive. Huh? So I used to give 4-5 movies. Take as many movies as you want. Story books, magazines. Take. Why? Because then they will not read. I will take movies. I am joking. Thanks. Okay, so if you see this movie, you will realize that we have to be very careful. Why we have to be very careful? See, all these fossil fuels which we are using, all these fossil fuels which are using are actually what they do. You burn it in your car. You burn it in your car or you burn it in your pumps, and then what you get? Carbon dioxide, water and energy, and that energy you use for your motorcycles, bikes, cars, and so on. Unfortunately, this energy is produced immediately, also produces carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. Why is it called greenhouse gas? Because carbon dioxide, as soon as it absorbs, you have to understand the chemistry, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a linear molecule. So, a molecule can vibrate. You should not think that whenever a structure of a molecule is shown, no oxygen like this, sulfur hexafluoride like this. You should not see that the structure is like this. The molecule is always vibrating, dancing, wedging, break dance, all these things it does. Okay, so carbon dioxide can do 3 types of dances. Okay, one of them is called symmetric motion, one is called asymmetric, okay, and that is called out of plane. This is exactly what carbon dioxide does. 3 normal modes of carbon dioxide. So this motion, this asymmetric, this boxing, 2 hands boxing, that absorbs the light energy, right? That absorbs the heat, and since it absorbs the heat, it doesn't give it, because if you give it more, it will do this boxing more, right? So that amount of energy it will absorb, and as a result the earth will become heater, because carbon dioxide will absorb heat. As a result, people have found that, see, if you look at that graph, the average glacier thickness has become thinner over a period of last 50 years. So what is happening? More and more in Arctic and Antarctic ocean, things are getting melted. And that is very bad for Gujarat because this Saurashtra, Kutch and everything will get submerged. You should be very worried about it. Even I need to be very well because Kerala will also be submerged. Okay. The other thing which people have found out that the world is becoming hotter. Why it is hotter? Well, there are two things you can right away see. 10 years before, how many people used to have ACs in house? Now everybody, in fact this room also have 5-6 ACs. Now you cannot live without AC. Everybody is using AC. Or you can say no, nowadays become very rich, we are using AC. No, but that is also true. It has become more hotter. It has become much more hotter. In fact, it is to do it. So cold places have become colder, hot places are becoming hotter. So that is bad, right? In fact, the global temperature has come out very much. Now, this is one thing, that the world is becoming hotter. So eventually the world will become so hot that we will not have any life here.
Yes, sir. One of our lecturers told that it's a symptom of global cooling.
Yeah, sure.
Which one cooling, sir? Global warming or global cooling?
Well, sit down. Unfortunately, this has been a big mess up by this gentleman called Rajendra Pachauri. And I have a lot of respect for him, but now he has messed up the literature like anything. Now, I really don't know an answer. Because some people say global heating, some people say global warming. See, that is true. The places which are cold in Europe, they are becoming much more colder. Right? So, this is not clear, but one thing is very clear. The things are going out of equilibrium. So, that is bad, you agree with me. Whether it is cold or bad thing is, I don't know, but and also because of Rajendra Pachauri, what he did and his reports of Himalaya glaciers melting, not much is understood. But one thing is that the world is becoming bad. Okay, one thing, I will come to your questions. Now, even if this temperature variations is not going to kill us, what is going to kill us certainly is the price of oil. See, look at this. This is the graph which we have. The prices of petrol, or for that matter gases, have gone up like anything. In fact, the prices of gases, are actually calibrated with respect to the unrest in the world. So whenever there is a fight, whenever there is a war, the prices of fuel go up. And as a result, and in India, 95% of the total petrol which we use is imported. So as a result, it makes us a big problem because now we are more dependent on what is happening there, and it is not good. And where do we import oil from? All these Middle East countries. Okay, and as and there is this book by Thomas Friedman. He says the more we import oil from those countries, and by the way, those countries also have a very bad record of human respect for human life, in the sense democracy and so things. So what happens? Eventually, it is even bad for the whole world because the money which we are actually buying the petrol is also being used by many of these countries which do not have a very good record of democracy. So overall, in the overall total human context, burning fossil fuel is bad. Okay, that is something. So what is the way out? The way out is probably the simplest thing is called hydrogen fuel, and people are using hydrogen cylinders all around. Now there are cars and buses, but unfortunately there is a bad thing. Hydrogen is very expensive. Hydrogen is not very expensive, but storing hydrogen is very expensive because hydrogen is highly inflammable. So as a result, you have to store hydrogen in a very affordable and safe fashion, in which you are going to release hydrogen as and when you need. For example, people have come up with nanotubes, metal organic framers, fullerenes, which can store a lot of hydrogens. And since it will store a lot of hydrogen, you can also release it. And once it will release it, you can use it as a machine. So people are trying to use hydrogen storage hydrogen storage is a very big idea. As we go from petroeconomics to hydrogen-based economics. Okay. And the other important thing, which is important, I forgot to mention it because then it was last week. Last week in Gujarat we had this wonderful thing of 600 megawatts of solar panels across the Narmada. The canal. It's a beautiful thing. So you have to appreciate. In your solar panels which you have, what are the materials which you use is silicon oxide. And silicon oxide and amorphous silicon has a power efficiency of 2%. So if 10 kilocalories of light falls on that, 2 kilocalories get saved. So now there is an idea of people using organic light storing materials in which you can actually improve the efficiency to 25%. So the next major discovery, I can predict it right away, is going to be on solar panels. because sun is so important, so much of fuel, completely pollution free. Solar light is completely pollution free, affordable, but you have to use chips which are much better, not the silicon ones. Right now we use silicon, okay, but if it's possible to use organic polymers, conducting polymers, that will be much better. And there are a lot of people who are doing research on photovoltaics. This is called photovoltaics. Why? Photon falls off the chip and then it generates power. And this is called photovoltaics. Now questions.
Sir, I have heard that global warming also occurs due to rotation of the Earth and magnetic field of the Earth. Is it?
Well, but then that would be Earth is rotating forever, right? So that will not be new. But what the graph shows in the last 40 years, when we started using petrol, things have become much worse. So those things may be global warming, but I am saying what is happening now is more worrying. It is very clear that burning more and more petrol is very bad for the environment. It is bad for the country because you have to drain out all your money to dollars to buy to buy the petrol, and what they do with that money is another problem. So there is a big problem all around. I didn't understand the question.
What's up, Rahul sir? And my question is that what is the photochemical smoke? We all know that it affects on the global warming and I mean the generate of the increasing the global temperature. So how does it generate? Does it generate from fear or how does it affects on our body?
See, these are again some things which are not very well understood in the sense. But what happens, particularly in these countries in North India, you have this smoke, and in the winter you have fog. So you get a mixture of smoke and fog, and as a result, again, because by the way, water, fog mostly water, right? Water also has water. What is the structure of water? Vent, right? HOH, vent, right? Right? How many degrees of freedom? 3. The water can move in 3 different ways, and the energy which it takes is this again asymmetric mode. That asymmetric mode can absorb a lot of energy and will store the energy. That is one of the reasons why it can.